We have to struggle to come out of that. It's like the caterpillar goes and hangs out in the cocoon for a while, and now he becomes that butterfly. But do you think that cocoon just fell off to the side for him to come out? He had to struggle with that cocoon to get out of that bad boy.
Mm-hmm.
So we have how our father, our mother, or our aunt or grandparents, whoever it was that raised us, we come in that packaging. Of course, we have the physical DNA that they gave us, right? But also their idiosyncrasies, their weaknesses, their hang-ups.
Mm-hmm.
Like you mentioned before, you felt that may have been or told that you were too heavy. No, you're not. You're beautiful. Look, and I know from my past practices in the physical realms working out, that's just a matter of chiseling away something. But look at you, your real beauty. The body's a cocoon. You were born a caterpillar. Now you're in the cocoon of who you are, and you're going to spring forth. The trick is, many of us don't appreciate each other as we are that butterfly, because we're looking around for the old caterpillar, and that person who's the butterfly now flies right past us, and we don't even know them. And we've got to see ourselves as a work in progress. And we know we have to struggle with that packaging that we were brought in, the packaging of our family life. Again, their hang-ups, their weaknesses, their past sins, their things that you know about that they didn't think you knew about, but you were a child and overheard a conversation and pieced two things together that you may have been ashamed of. I'm not speaking to you just saying it's you, it's anybody listening. And so we think and we see the facade, because in these families, they work very hard to put on that facade.
I don't understand why, though, Lance. I just, speaking personally, like, I always feel like I was running away from my mom's shadow. But I learned in my family that they would rather not discuss their feelings, not discuss their emotions. So it's not necessarily that they were dismissing me. In a lot of ways, they were dismissing themselves.
Yes. Yes.
And I just don't understand sometimes the logic behind that. But I get what you're saying, and also I'm just wondering too. I'm kind of losing track. I'm kind of losing track. But my point was, like I said, running away from her shadow. That's what I've been doing my whole life, running away from. I love my mom, the sweetest person you would ever meet, a very giving.
Oh, I understand.
I wanted her still yet, even in her older age. She's, I'm 36, she's 56.
Mm-hmm.
I still want her to find her voice. And I kind of feel like it's my duty to be a certain person to help her also come up out of that shyness, come up out of that not acknowledging of self. Because she's a very powerful anointed woman of God. But it's just that
yes,
that whole affirmation thing from her father, she still carries that as a 56-year-old woman.
Well, see, this is the thing. You were put in a very special position to do just that. No one from the outside could affect her like you can. But one thing I'll say is that you owe it to yourself to focus on your life and become that person. Not to ignore her, but know that the fringe benefits of you developing yourself to your fullest majesty will affect her, as opposed to, well, I'm doing this to affect her. It's going to happen. It's going to follow through. She's observing you and she's watching you and she's connected to you. And the better you do yourself is the better you do her. Like I say for my brother, instead of me going up to Manhattan and looking through the spots that I know are there to find them, what am I going to tell him? The best thing I can do for him is to cultivate myself, better myself, knowing that we came out of the same womb. And maybe, just maybe, and I have a feeling he's observing me online. Because I know if I had somebody out there and I know that there's this thing called Google and you put in a name, and thank God I have a strange name, an odd name. Thank God my name is not Joe Smith. He would never find me. Right? LanceScurv, and there's not too many of them around. So
No.
the best thing I can do is to be the best that I can be and get over a lot of the anger that I had toward him.
Mm-hmm.
I understand more, but that's going to be one of the fringe benefits of working on myself, is that one day, even if it's just for a brief moment before we both transition, we'll get to that point. See? So you are not your beginnings. Though that's why they're called beginnings. That's not your ending. And of course, as you do the proper things on this level, you will have no ending. You will go on if you follow the Most High. But
Yes.
you will be okay. Work on yourself. Know that she's watching. And the fringe benefits of developing yourself will be the fact that it will affect her. I won't mention names on this end of things. And maybe I can. Yeah, I think it's okay that I do. My brother-in-law, Keston, has evolved. He evolved. Always a smart, hardworking man, but his eyes have been open to many things. And I'm very proud of him. And he shared with me, and I don't think this is inappropriate to share, but he said that in his awakening on a spiritual level, away from just the religious foolishness and hierarchy, but the real connection,
Yes.
that his mother, my mother-in-law, who's a wonderful person, but she had her views on things, he affected her to make her not change, like I'm going to make you change, but she said some things to him recently that let him know that she's releasing the old hierarchy of religion and see, and she's embracing the spirituality. See, but that's the son that she would say, no, this is the way, this is the way. And she rejected things that he came with for a while. And something got through. And she's beginning to evolve herself. And to dislodge those old things. Yes, it's for us as the child, which you are a grown woman, but the proximity to our parents will always be their child. You know, they'll always be our mommy and daddy or parents or whatever you want to call them. But we're in a unique position to affect them. But focus hard on yourself. Shine your light. Live your truth. Show that it's okay to walk away from the order of things where there was not too much of communication of your feelings. And for a time, maybe you had to be looked at as the troublemaker for being that way or made to feel that way. See? Because, and I'll say it this way, Mrs. Scurv has things she wants to share about traumatic things that happened to her in her childhood where she was violated. And that's all I'll say. I'll let her say it, but you can read between the lines.
Yeah.
And in her violations for such a long time by a family member, nobody wanted to hear it. They didn't say that per se, but as she got closer to it, the mood was definitely there that no, we're not talking about this. And she had to walk with that.
I got tears in my eyes. I just felt that when you said that.
Yes. Yes. And I told her today.
There's a lot of stuff that goes on that's not acknowledged.
Yes.
And that's why I think for so long in my life that I have, I chose food.
Yes.
Because I was stuffing away that voice, and I pray that she comes on and she shares that, because a lot of women and a lot of men have been abused.
Oh, yes.
Physically, mentally, emotionally, in so many ways.
Yes.
And because they're doing these other things because they don't want to acknowledge their own voice.
Yes.
They don't want to acknowledge what happened to them. But if you are a child, if you are an adult, if something happened to you, it's okay to speak up. God gave you your voice.
Yes.
And it doesn't matter what other people around you think about it, that is your truth.
Yes.
And the only way you're going to make peace with it is to acknowledge it.
Yes. Yes. Let me tell you, and I'll go a little more into that story. When it was brought up in the present, not yesterday, but maybe 3 or 4 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, a sit down we had with several people in her family. And afterward or before, there was someone who knew of it and knew of the sit down and told her to her face, "Why would you do that? It doesn't matter anymore. It's in the past."
That's a lie.
And I was so angry. I wasn't there when that was said. But this is how many families operate, because we want to appear to be that fully developed person without going through the fire and acknowledging those things and cleaning out. You see, when you have company come over, and let's just say it this way, I'm not saying it's you, I'm just saying this as a figure of speech, and your house is nasty and dirty, and they pop up out of nowhere, and you intend to let them in, but you don't want them to see how disheveled you live. Many people go to grabbing things, throwing it in that one room, throwing it in that one closet to appear that their house is in order. And oh, when that guest walks near that room and almost threatens to open up that door, you don't want them to see. Instead of taking care of it over time and healing over time and acknowledging it over time and bringing yourself back into balance.
What I also understand is that one room, that smell permeating from that
yes,
room,
you understand.
It's still going to come out into the whole house, the atmosphere.
Yes.
So even if you hid that in that so-called back room, it's still going to be a remnant of it.
Yes.
So why not deal with it?
Yes.
On a daily basis? Why not keep your house in a certain order on a daily basis? Or just keep the atmosphere clean, keep your spirit clean, cleanse yourself of those things on a daily basis so you don't have to be on guard when somebody comes by.
Well, see, this is the thing. I've observed families that their whole existence wasn't to be a family and free flow, but their whole existence was to, in an unspoken way, bend their whole life to go around to hide what's going on in that room. And they're crippled. And they've clogged themselves up. Like not changing the filter on your AC, your air conditioner in the house. You're not even breathing clean air anymore. And it's forcing the system to overheat. And something's going to blow anyway. So why not acknowledge it? And if others don't acknowledge it, you keep talking about it. You don't hide it. Even if you have to go speak to someone else about it, you cleanse yourself. If you want to stay dirty and funky, you go ahead. But I'm washing my backside, baby, because I got a party called life to attend. God didn't put you here to have to go through these things and bear the weight of what someone else should have taken care of. And here you are, a child.
Even existed.
Exactly. You came into this world clean.
To be upset if you want to acknowledge their dirt. They have the audacity. A lot of times, my family members, how dare you say that? If I acknowledge something that anybody with their plain eye can see, it's a problem. Because I acknowledged it. Or I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm delusional.
Yes.
You gotta acknowledge it, even if it costs you sometimes, maybe like a disagreement. Acknowledge it and move on, because guess what? There's a such thing as generational curses or things that come out continuously to come out within your family bloodline,
Yes.
except you acknowledge and stop it.
That's right.
Except you acknowledge it right there. There's plenty of people who are in abusive relationships because their mother was in an abusive relationship.
And that was normal for them.
Relationship.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you know what? It's sick, but driving this bus down here for many, many years, I've seen it happen. I see many women in relationships where I've seen them get physically beat in the street, right? Mm-hmm. And you see them away from that person. I've seen families come to be, meaning that I've seen a young man and a young woman meet on the bus, exchange numbers. You see them holding hands. You see her pushing a carriage. You see him with somebody else cheating on her, and you see him beating on her. You see that they're not together anymore. You see the kid get a little older. You see her with somebody else, and the somebody else is beating her.
Wow.
And I say to myself, and this is not all cases when you are in an abusive relationship, all I'm saying is that I got to stop looking at the abuser, and I got to start checking out the one who's allowing this to happen. And maybe allow is not a good word. I don't know. I'm just being honest. Accepting it, yes. Because
a lot of times the truth of the matter is when you accept negativity in your life, you're just rejecting yourself. And you're rejecting the Holy Spirit, the voice within.
Yes.
That divine voice that's guiding you throughout this life. And a lot of times in my perception, you're rejecting it because you believe to perceive your life as the enemy has forecast your life to be.
Yes.
The Lord, the Most High, our Creator, has a vision and a forecast for our life. But the enemy also has a vision and a forecast. And it kind of relates to what I was saying about speaking over your life. You have to believe what our Creator is saying. You have to genuinely believe it within your heart, or else you'll be taken off on the road in the path of the enemy. And it's going to affect your bloodline.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, because, and it's your responsibility at that point. You have to stop it. Like they say, the buck stops here. Mm-hmm. You have to be the one to stop it. But understand that it's not a part of you as far as being permanently adhered to you. See, we kind of go through that when we're younger. And even about that young lady who has accepted being abused, but she came up in an abusive situation where it was normalcy for her to see the father beat the mother. Or it was normalcy for her to see the mother walk all over the father. Whichever one. But let's pick this one where he's physically abusing her. In her mind, she may have girlfriends that say, you know, girl, that's wrong. You need to leave him. But there's what I've found in my personal conversations with many, because I speak with many without the recording going on. Mm-hmm. And not all, but some. And I can't give you a percentage because I haven't spoken to everybody. But I have run across and spoken to on not just one conversation, but over months. One example, over a period of 2 years. And we got down to the point where I didn't even put this on her, but she admitted this to me. That, Lance, that was normal for me to see that. And I didn't feel my life was complete if I didn't have it.
Wow.
Because there was a part of it
down in her subconscious.
Yes. We reached down that far because she said, you know, I saw them make up and I had the room next to theirs and I heard other things going on after they made up. I didn't quite understand, but I understood as I got older, and that was the same rhythm in my relationship or relationships. That something about that aggressive man, not aggressive where he's trying to secure her and says, listen, I'm going to work and take whatever it takes to secure you and bring you a wonderful life. That's the good kind of aggression. Mm-hmm. But the aggression that a woman can sense when he's stepping on toes and testing her to see how far he can get away with things, that turned her on. And I see that on a daily basis the guys that go downtown that have no jobs, but they go downtown early when the working women are coming off of the bus, or at the rush hour in the evening when they're going home. And they will pick a conversation to see who they can get through to. And they'll stay downtown as they leave, waiting for the bus, and they leave, and here comes the next set. And they build up a rapport with many women, 10, 15, 20 of them. And they'll go now and say, hold on, I'm going to get something to drink. Do you want me to get you a soda? And they usually say no, because who is this guy? But when they come back with the soda, they will get back too close to her. They're just meeting her. I'm watching this. I'm on my layover. And they will ask her or tell her, oh, I got to tie my shoe. Hold this for me. And some women are like, I don't know you like that. You better hold your own drink. And he knows I can't get away with that with her. But some women, okay. Or they may feign and act like they're $1 short on the fare. Now let's see how quick you want to give me $1 to make up for the $1 I don't have. He's testing her.
A dime for me, brother.
But see, remember him stepping on her toes in different ways. This particular type of woman who was reared in that kind of household, who feels that that's normal and didn't know it, she begins to like this exchange and this dynamic. Ooh, wait. And she's not going to say, maybe he'll take me home and beat me. No, but him being rough with her. Maybe when he goes out with her and it's a month or two later and you see them together and he's bossing her around and she's got her head down. He's sagging his pants and she's got a wonderful business suit on and looking so professional in her appearance, but she's with this low-life loser. And she's taken up for him whenever somebody else talks to her about it, because I've heard countless cell phone conversations on my bus. Well, he's looking for work. Yes, I know it's been 2 years, but it's hard. He has a record and lots of child support, and I have to help him out. Why? See? So,
and
go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We got to know the signs.
Of course we do.
Lance, we got to know the signs, because being when you've had a rough childhood, those things do try to come up, surface in your relationships now. But you have to know your worth, and you have to know the signs, because I've come across, just being a gentle person. Yes. A soft person, and like you see me, if you saw me in public, like say at a grocery store, I'm always smiling. I'm always like talking to people and stuff. Right. And people automatically assume you can get over on her, you know. So I've had guys that came to me, not in those particular ways, but they would study you, see you 5 minutes and probably study you. But you have to know the signs. Because I had this one guy I was working out in the gym with, and I was working by myself. I would come to the gym. This was probably about a month ago, honestly. Mm-hmm. Come to the gym. He spotted me there. He used to see me there all the time. We work out at the same time. He finally started talking to me. I was like, okay, fine. Hey, how you doing? Blah, blah, blah. I noticed that he was an aggressive type. Mm-hmm. I noticed that this guy could be a potential abuser. Yes. Now, he wasn't saying these things to me, but the energy he was giving off, how he would come over to me, we started working out. I noticed the signs. I was going to do a video about this, but I just didn't. I thought it was too personal. Mm-hmm. I worked out with him probably maybe a couple weeks, probably like a week and a half, because we didn't make it that long, because I'm not going to tolerate it. Lance, I would rather be by myself. Yes. I've come across some wonderful men, but if you're not going to treat me with respect and dignity, I am a person that does not mind staying to herself. With this guy, I noticed the signs. We would be in the gym. He would come in there. We would get there at the same time. He would build me up. Constance, you're doing so great on this machine. Oh, Constance, I see you losing weight. But you're going to be this when you lose he told me that one time, Lance. All it took was one time.
Mm-hmm.
He said, when you lose a certain amount of weight, you're going to be this person. I said, let me tell you something, brother. I got off that machine. I said, I'm already that woman today.
Yes.
I said, this weight on me, this weight that I carry is not going to make me a better woman. It will make me a healthier woman.
Right.
I might be able to run faster, but I'm not going to be a better woman. And I said, I'm not defined by what you see. He told me that at one time, Lance, I never worked out with him again. But he had the signs of an abusive guy. He had the signs of, this is what he wanted to do with me.
Mm-hmm.
I see a large woman. I think she got low self-esteem. I think that I'm going to have sex with her.
Mm-hmm.
Now, he didn't let me know that outright, but that's what his perception of me was.
Mm-hmm.
I have been single for a very long time. Ain't nobody coming up in my place. And I have agreed with myself that I will not be sleeping around and I will not have sex until I get married.
Exactly.
Not again. That is my personal agreement.
Mm-hmm.
So no man is coming is going to lock me down in that way. What I'm saying is, you may be a soft person on the outside, but women know the signs and know your worth. You don't, a man, a person outside of yourself cannot make you valuable. It is the acknowledgement of self. It is your confidence, your bravery every day that makes you who you are. And your constant trying to become a better person, constantly trying to evolve. No one, if this person is not coming into your life to better you, to teach you something that you don't know, to protect you, to show you something about the Most High, you don't need them. There's plenty of men that come to me, attractive men who have money. Yes. I remember a couple of years ago when I was low on a job, a man came to me and was like, Constance, I'll give you a couple $1,000. But he wanted, as soon as he was going to give me that money, he was going to start controlling me.
Yes.
I said, no. I'd rather have, let me tell you something, I barely want to ask my own father for money. I work. I believe in working and being independent. I learned that because my mom and my dad, she was taken care of, and she wasn't very independent, so it was very hard for her when they got divorced after like 25 years. Women, I'm telling you, see the signs outright. Don't just be looking at a guy because he got a nice job, a nice car, and he treats you well initially. You don't know him. Use discernment. Watch every word he says to you.
Yes.
Because that could be life or death for you. You could get yourself, and there's a woman here in Charlotte who not too long ago died. It was a guy in the church. You know, everybody assumes that all good men are in the church, and that is a lie from the pit of hell. It was a guy in the church, and she started dating this guy, and they got to know each other. And I can't remember her name, but this woman was a counselor in some college here in Charlotte. This man was just average guy or whatever, blah blah blah. I don't know his whole story. Anyway, he killed her.
Oh.
It appears that he was jealous of her success. She was extremely popular here, very beautiful. She was dating below her who she was.
That's right.
Not to say that you can't date somebody who is not on your pay grade. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying spiritual
and character,
emotionally. Yeah, character. And she got herself into that because guess what? She was ignoring the signs. Oh, this man is in church. I don't know what other signs she ignored. All I'm saying is I see the signs because when you appear vulnerable, when you appear nice, you appear gullible to a lot of men.
Mm-hmm.
But women, you have the control over your own body, heart, and mind. And if you are in tune with the Most High, you can avoid all of that drama. I'm 36 years old. I don't have any children. I haven't slept around a lot. Had some boyfriends, had some relationships. I'm just saying you have to know how to navigate because you're worthy and what you have is priceless.
Yes.
If you don't see yourself as priceless, you're going to be in that relationship with that abuser. You're going to be in that relationship with someone who's going to disrespect you. Doesn't matter how loud you are, how intelligent you are, how confident you are. Your actions speak to who you really are.
Yes.
Let your actions speak for you, woman. Let your actions speak. Let your actions show that you respect yourself and that you're truly guarding your heart. I'm sorry to go off on a tangent.
Oh, no. This is
that guy tried to play me for a fool. He was like six something, ripped up.
Yes.
And he just thought that, oh, she's a larger woman. She must have a low self-esteem. No, I don't.
But see, remember.
No, I don't.
But see, remember, it just wasn't going to be sex. He was going to go all up in your pocketbook in his mind, your checking account. He was going to live with you. He was going to look, the gyms. Oh, I know about the gyms. And I have to say, I was never a predator like that. I was just a guy who, but it wasn't like I'm trying to take your money or trying to whatever like that. But because of my proximity to the gym, I saw this working out when I was much younger. I saw how that worked. I saw those women that came in there with low self-esteem and the guys who were hawks. They were sharks all over them. Look around a week and a half, 2 weeks later, they're driving this person's car, got keys to their apartment, and they're in the gym the same way. And the woman doesn't even come to the gym anymore because that's their breeding ground and they don't want them there too long.
Lance, I changed my gym. As soon as that happened.
Yes.
I was like, I don't want to see that man anymore because I work out I changed my gym. I said I ain't going nowhere.
Yeah.
I told him off and I changed the gym.
You should change.
It's the same gym, but I'll go on a different side of town now.
Yeah. You see, and that's good. That's a good thing to do. Change gyms like you change the passcode on your email account. Get a monthly membership and check different ones out and stagger your times because so much can be learned from observing you. When you leave out of there and go to your car, or even if you go to the bus, they know. They watch you. They watch your times. They look at your finger to see if there's a ring, which doesn't indicate anything. You're on a cell phone talking. They act like they're taking a rest on the machine next to you, and they're listening to you just to get a snippet.
He was observing me.
Of course.
He was doing everything that you were saying. Sometimes, Lance, I would be on a machine, and I would see him, and he would just be standing there. And I was like, oh, my God. I was like, that's super creepy. And then he would play it off like he wasn't paying attention to me.
Wow.
So, yeah. Let me tell you something. I'm so glad I got away from that man because I felt like that was going to blow up in my face. I caught it early because I was paying attention to every word he said to me.
Thank God you did.
And I'm like, what does he want from me? I'm like, and this is the sad thing. He was attractive. So a lot of women, trust me, are going to take that bait.
Oh, yeah, of course.
A lot of women are going to take that bait.
See, and that's his game. And that's why the appearance must be kept up. See? And I'm going to go back to another snippet. When you said that food became that safe haven for you. Food was like a drug. Well, with me, when I had that overwhelming emptiness, especially when I was involved in bodybuilding competitively, I abruptly stopped bodybuilding. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. For the reasons that I saw the sick lifestyles, I saw the prostitution, the male prostitutes, I saw the drugs that these guys were taking. I saw how they wanted, not all bodybuilders, but I'm just saying a lot of them.
What do you mean by male prostitution in bodybuilding?
What?
I've never heard of that.
You can't have bodybuilder without male prostitution following you around too far. Look.
How does that correspond, though?
Well, okay, let's put it this way. And we're still free flowing, right? But I have to say this. You have a bodybuilder, okay?
Yeah.
Young guy. He starts training, starts looking developed and starts looking good. He gets a little better and better. The gyms are open. And back then, we didn't have social media. It's worse now, okay? I'll just tell you that because, you can do things from the privacy of your home. But I've had people approach me when I was younger. You go to the competitions. They're sitting in the audience. the competition's over, you're hanging out with your friends and family in the front, you're going to get something to eat because you've been on a diet for several months, and they approach you, honestly, like just like it's legit. Here's their card.
Men or women?
Men. Men.
Really?
Yes.
I know I'm naive when it comes to this subject, but I have never heard, maybe because I don't know. I've never heard of this.
Well, like I said, there's nothing I haven't seen or observed or experienced, but I couldn't get away from. No, I didn't do that stuff. I'm just saying that whatever Jim.
I don't believe that you. I'm not saying that you did. I'm just saying
right.
This is another subject that I didn't think of. I didn't know that was even a thing.
Oh God! Back in the day, not now as much on this one aspect, but yes, it is around more than ever before. But back in the day, we had, especially in New York City in the early 80s, we had judges of bodybuilding contests that never lifted a weight in their life, but they found themselves in that position to have power over the competitions. So that way they'll have influence when they come around you and insinuate certain things. They would never say it directly, but they would insinuate certain things. And I'm going to say his name. Dick Roach was a judge in New York City back in the early 80s. I don't care if he hears it now. And it's not about the fact that we all knew that he was gay, but he didn't want to do things whichever way he thought he should do it legitimately. I'm not signing off on that lifestyle. We know what it is. I'm just saying that slimy can be in any category. And he was slimy. He had a big position down on Wall Street. He made lots of money. He was a slender guy, very tall, but he was head over most of the affairs on the judging level in New York City at the time. And when I started competing at 16 years old, he reached out to me because he wanted to help me. So at first I'm impressed at this judge who is judging and knows all of these people and competitors. I'm like, wow, okay. And he gave me some suggestions. I'm not even thinking that this guy's skinny as a rail. What does he know?
Yeah.
He did martial arts, I found out, and he was very good with that. But he would call me on a regular basis, once every 2 weeks. And I didn't know that he was in the lifestyle that he was in, which didn't give him the cooties or anything, but it's like, okay, that should have told me, but I didn't know. So my father picked the phone up one morning, innocently, and Dick Roach asked for me. And I didn't know it was Dick Roach on the phone because I was 2 rooms over. My father cussed him out and said, never are you going to call this phone again, because if you do, you'll never, and he didn't know all the way, but when he heard his voice and he heard of me speaking about Dick Roach, he said, okay, whatever, no problem. When he heard that man's voice, he knew what it was. He knew what it was all about. Mm-hmm. I still went into competitions and did well in other organizations, but the more I got vocal, because 16, 17, 18, 19, I bumped into this man a lot. And the more I started to say things on my end, when I realized what it was, he didn't dig me too tough, and there were certain situations where I did not win when I should have, right? But all I'm saying is that on that prostitution level, it was infested in New York City, infested with men who would follow you through different competitions, no matter where it was on the East Coast. And they'd want to buy you lunch and be your friend and get around you. And you, not me, but I'm saying you and not you, but you as a bodybuilder, you working a job. You're buying supplements. Supplements and gym memberships can get very expensive. Going into competitions and traveling from state to state, hotel fees, and your huge appetite when in the off season, or the special foods you're going to eat during your pre-contest training, they can get expensive. And everybody who does it feels that they're one day going to be the best. And it's a drive that can border on the imbalance, which it is, because that is a very sick sport when taken out of. And I'm going to say this one thing that many will understand. Bodybuilding is a wonderful sport when done the right way, but it's never benefited itself. What do I mean by that? It's never gone mainstream. It's always had a circus sideshow type atmosphere around it, but every other single sport out here has benefited from the knowledge learned from bodybuilding. Football, boxing, baseball, basketball, wrestling, every other practice has benefited from weight training and the diet and knowing how to eat, which comes from bodybuilding to the extreme, but bodybuilding has never benefited itself and never will. Let's not even talk about the drugs.
Most of those bodybuilders do after, like, they get older and they can no longer be a part of championships and competitions and stuff.
Okay, tell me this. What gray-haired old bodybuilder do you know of? Not many. Mm-hmm. It's not a longevity sport. It beats down your body if done improperly. I have dormant injuries. I trained natural, but I don't have the injuries and heart attacks and liver failure and kidney problems and that these guys who did the drugs. And so now when you get into the drugs, that's when it really hits home, because a lot of guys who were previously straight opportunistically have become gay to be on the payroll of some rich doctor or some lawyer so that they don't have to work. But you know what? Yeah, you may not have to work a 9 to 5, and I'm going to say it the adult way, but you better know how to work a 69. I'll just say it like that. That's the nastiest thing I'll say tonight.
But that, I mean, it's crazy how many different ways it is for people to sell their soul.
Exactly.
It's crazy for how many, like that. That's why you have to really navigate through this life in discernment. Because I think about all the things that could have happened to me. You know, just being out here in the world, just trying to, like, I did a CD or whatever, just trying to, like, network with people. You gotta really have that connection with the Most High, because it seems, and then this stuff that people are seeking for is like it's like going on a rat wheel.
Yes.
You're going fast nowhere. You know, life is but a vapor, as we all know. And, like, if you don't really value your soul, because that's what the enemy is after ultimately, it's just different outlets to help you to lose who you were innately supposed to be, so that at the end of the day, you can't look yourself in the mirror with peace.
Yes.
Because you know these bodybuilders who have chosen that life that weren't even initially gay, how can they look themselves in the mirror?
It's a trade-off for most of them. They will do it. It's an imbalance in their essence, their emotions, their mental, just across the board for them. When you're focusing on one thing like that too much, and I'm not somebody who, well, you couldn't make it, you're a has-been. Mm-hmm. I believe I could have made it. I had certain natural advantages, and I had certain flaws in my physique that needed work on. But on the lower level, I was really good, and I didn't take anything, and I beat guys who were on steroids. So I'm not even hung up on that. I'm glad I got out of it. But what I'm saying is that to focus on just one aspect, and I said that earlier, is something wrong. The other ones will suffer. Your relationships suffer. Your education will suffer. You know, your social skills will suffer. There are guys who don't want friends. They don't want relationships. A woman is only a receptacle for the physical needs. See, it's all about that. And your body being very fragile, you blow a joint or something happens internally, and that's it. It's over. What do you have to show for it? Right? So these leeches, they go to certain gyms, they'll join. They're not really interested in working out, but they want to get next to the fellas. And they will drive up in their Corvette or their Jaguar or their Mercedes Benz and say, hey, guy, thanks for helping me out and spotting me when I did that particular machine or whatever. Hey, what do you think? I'm going to go get some sushi. You want some? Or they'll name out an expensive restaurant that bodybuilder just couldn't afford. They say, you serious? Of course I'll go. And they go. And they talk. And this guy lets him see how much he has. And he treats him well the first couple of times. And then after a while, I say, hey, man, listen. we've been hanging out for a while, and I think you're a real cool guy. I just want to let you know something about me that you might not know. You know, I see you looking at women, and we laughed and everything like that, but I'm not really into women. And I want to know if you feel funny about that being around me, because this is not about you and I or me coming on to you, but you kind of figure it out after a while.
Mm-hmm.
And the response determines where that goes. Because now if he says, no, man, it's not a problem with me, man, I'm not hung up on that. Whatever you are, I'm cool. So the guy will say, and I'm making this up as I go along because I've heard many stories, and I'm just kind of averaging it out just to give you a ballpark figure on how it goes.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, you really impress me. You really work hard in the gym. And I do believe, you see, here comes the flattery, just like with you in the gym with this gentleman that you had to cut short. I do believe that you are a champion. And it's going to manifest one day. And I would like to be able to help you in any way possible. And leave him with that. And come back another time and they're hanging out. And this guy knows he's gay. Right? Doesn't mean that he's a leper or he's a monster. But, come on, birds of a feather flock together. He saw the guy's money. He saw his apartment or his home. He saw the car that he had. Hey, man, if you ever need the car, let me know. You got to take a trip to that competition. I'm not doing anything that weekend except that I have to be close by for family coming into town by my aunt. Take the car. You see what I mean? He's stroking him, preparing him, grooming him until one night he happens to be over there. And he says, hey, man, I got to admit, I feel you're attractive. And I've been doing little things for you, not to get next to you, but I know you never did anything like this before, but you think you can give it a shot with me, and everything I have is yours. And this guy's trying to be a champion. He's focused and he's gung-ho. And my theory is that if you're not that, you won't even go for that.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of guys who have that little 0.5% of possibility in them.
Mm-hmm.
And like the confidence games that are played on us. Well, if I do this, I won't have to work that 10 hours a day. If I do this, I won't have that overhead of rent over my head. If I do this, I can train twice a day and rest all night and day. Nobody will know. I just got to do this. Or it could be just that they did that one time, and the reward to them is like, it wasn't that bad. And they see other guys coming at them in the gym and they accommodate them. But yes, it is a big thing. That's what drives a lot of these bodybuilders, because they can get online now. They have email addresses, they have websites, and guess what? They have countless men reaching out to them, and it's much easier now because they can do it anonymously.
Wow.
You see these women.
I never even knew that was a thing.
Oh, it's a big thing. It's a huge thing. It's a huge thing. Who do you think the biggest fans are? The most passionate? Yes, we have a lot of fans who, it's not a gay or straight thing, right? You can be gay and be a fan of bodybuilding and not be into, I'm lusting out, I want this person. I had a man call me from Canada at the end of 1982 after I appeared in several magazines, and he found out what gym I worked in. There was no internet as we know it now. And he told me just off the appearance of my picture that the way they wrote about me and my charisma and my posing routine and choreography and the way I looked, you would be perfect for this part in this movie that I'm making based out of Canada. Let's talk about it. He called the gym. So I gave him my personal number. I didn't know. I'm thinking this might be something. Until he was shady on a lot of things. And, I was much sharper then.
Yeah.
And I let him know. And he had to admit it. And that was the end of that. See? So with men, and this is another thing which is not just on the bodybuilding level, but the sex drive of men. You as a woman, if you walk anywhere, you can have a burlap sack on. You could be where you don't feel it, that you're at your ultimate. But men, they don't care about that for the most part. If you allow them to do what they want to do, if you go down the street, you go to Walmart, you go to the gym, you go to the mall, and a man walks past you and he's staring at you with that look. And I told a lot of the fellas, I said, man, you don't know what these women have to go through every day.
You know, I learned not to look men in the eyes. Now, I'm not saying to be intimidated by looking people in the eyes, right? But it's especially when I go into the gym, I learn not to look men in the eyes because I think a lot of the times when you look them directly in the eye, they feel like, I got you.
Yes.
And I experience in the new gym that I go to, it'll be some men sometimes just kind of like staring a little bit. And I'm like, I try my best just to glance away and just, I'm serious, Lance, because it's something about, I have learned, something about when you give that eye contact, they feel like it's an entryway.
I'm big on that.
It's a gateway.
Oh, tell it, because I got something to say about that, but go ahead and tell it.
No, I'm just saying that's what I've experienced. And then people pick up on your energy. Like me and you being empaths. You can pick up on someone's energy easily. You can pick up on their aura,
yes,
their disposition by the way they're I pay attention to the way people walk. I pay attention to the way that they carry themselves.
Right.
If they're walking slouched over, if they're confidently walk. You can pick up on a lot of stuff just by seeing a person walk for a matter of a minute or so, and the way they interact. Even if they're not talking to people, just the way they interact in the atmosphere, period.
Yes.
A lot of men especially study that. But then sometimes these, all of them aren't predators, I'm going to just be honest, but a lot of them, if you give off a little bit of, even a smile or a little bit, you look in the eye too deeply, it's on. It's like Lance, it's like prey. It's like the predator has come to feast. Yes.
Let me tell you something. I'm with you on that with the eye contact because I come into contact with thousands of people a day driving this bus. And Orlando is the fastest growing city in the U.S. right now. And it's not enough room. It's growing too fast. They're building things. There are people moving down. It's nuts. So to maintain my balance, I feel strong about eye contact. Let me tell you something. Have you ever had the feeling where you're somewhere that's not too crowded, but you feel like somebody's really watching you and you turn around and you look at them? Look, let me tell you something. Eyes, they say the mirror to the soul, but the gaze has energy. I don't mean gaze like Gays. I'm talking about Gaze, gaze,
yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
When you stare at somebody and they don't know it, they feel it. Animals do this out in the wild, even though they're not wild. They do this, and it has energy. And I believe, I'm going to tell some more stories, that when you look directly in someone's eyes, they have no defense to hide what they are if you're perceptive enough and you also download something of them. And they download something of you. So eye contact, when you are strong in your spirit and who you are, you don't have to give it to anybody. Save it, because it's almost like when you check your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
And you're about to buy a home, you check it too much, it will affect your credit score.
Mm-hmm.
So when you keep giving away eye contact,
mm-hmm.
it's like leaving your cell phone on, even though you didn't make a call on it, and it goes from 100 to 85 through the course of the day. You didn't pick up the phone, but it rung. It drew energy. For it to be on, drew energy. For it to give you that alert that you got a text message or an email or a notification on YouTube when a LanceScurv video drops, it takes energy. You know I'm a comedian. So you have to guard that unless you know the content of that person's essence, and I can look at you full on. My hat is a weapon. My little cap that I wear, my little bus driver cap, because I tip it to the side, to the right side. Mm-hmm. So when people come onto the bus and I tip my head to the side, I can talk to them and look down at the fare box, and I don't have to look them dead in the eye. I'm not scared of them. I look at them before they come on the bus. And I could see what they are before they come on the bus. And I say, okay, that one's a problem. That one's looking for attention. That one's going to start some fuss. That one's intoxicated. Mm-hmm. And I know how to handle. And I could say, you know what? That person's genuine. I could see that. Or that person's lost. I'm going to help them. It's not always an evil thing. It's a good thing sometimes. It's
an excellent thing to guard yourself, Lance. Because people can, even when people are like watching our videos, I'm sure they pay attention to detail to our eyes and to our auras. Ooh. Like my mom watched a video of me when I was going through something months ago. I did a video called Solitude Ain't Rude. I looked so tired, so worn down in that video. My mom was like, she called me and she was like, you got some stuff going on and I don't like what I see in that video. She sort of did say that to me. She was like, you better get off this YouTube stuff.
well, understand, that you will feel a pull on yourself. Well, I'm glad. Wow. I just love how deep you are. You will feel that pull because there are people as we speak right now. They are watching you. They are listening to you. They're not just listening to you for the righteous things that you say. They see your essence and they're out there catching feelings, good or bad.
Yeah.
This is why you have the thumbs down icon and the thumbs up. The thumbs up and thumbs down is for a purpose, but sometimes people catch feelings and they're out there feeling it, and you didn't have to have any physical contact with them, meaning being in close proximity to them physically. And you will feel it.
Can you feel that? Like sometimes there's an energy attached to my channel.
Of course.
It's a lot of religious people, because I used to be kind of religious. I'm not going to lie. If you go back, I used to be I felt like I had to say every word right. I felt like I had to be, like, that was just my personality in all honesty until I got more comfortable with Constance. But there's some religious spirit, like, attached to it.
Yes.
Just like, and they want me to say, the Lord's name every other word. It's not right if you don't say God's name. It's not so-and-so. You're not this, you're not that. And I'm like, why don't these people go and create their own channel?
Exactly.
But that's why it's so good to protect your energy, because when we exert this energy, there's a lot going out of us. People are observing it, and sometimes people are either behind the scenes jealous.
Yep.
Sometimes people are behind the scenes hating. But I guess because we're sensitive people, I can feel that.
Yes.
I can, and a lot of times I feel good energy now, but I can also feel that negativity that sometimes makes me want to stay away from it a little bit.
Well, yeah.
Do you ever experience that?
Oh, yes. And let me tell you something. I've experienced, oh, God, where do I start? Boy, one day when I write the book, and I think I'm a nice person because I don't name names, and these are not famous people. These are just folks who will follow you, whatever. But a lot comes back to me. And it's like, okay, because the way I operate, I believe in accessibility, and because I do the YouTube, but I also write on my blog. I do street videos. I'll go out with the camera in the street and ask people questions. I'll do my artwork. And that's what it was for me at first, my artwork. So I had one little tiny picture of me on the first little AOL page that I had, but it was all artwork, right? So my thing was, I'll put my number out there, which I would not suggest to any young lady to do unless you're ready for it. And 95% of what I receive as far as phone calls are legit. And I'm glad I did it that way, because there are people who would not want to wrangle with, let me send an email and wait. But I respond. But they have that in their mind that it's not worth it. I'm not going to reach out. My thing is, here's a number, call me, text me.
Yeah.
But sometimes when you throw the net out to get fish, you get crabs. See? And I ain't trying to catch crabs. So
nobody trying to catch crabs.
Right. So I will get the pictures sent.
Wow.
And it's not just the types that many people will say, oh, that's some, to say a slang term, that's some old hoochie mama. No. I've had a female pastor of a prominent church send me all kind of things out of nowhere because they feel comfortable. Now, on the same token, people go through things. On the same token, I understand that when people have these religious positions, they're boxed in. They're not allowed to be human. And their life is so rigid that when they find somebody that they can be comfortable with, they let it all hang out. And sometimes afterwards, they say, oh man, did I do the right thing? I don't hurt anybody's feelings.
That's a box people often put themselves in, though.
Right. Yeah.
Because I used to be considered a little religious, in my thinking. And some people might still think I don't consider myself to be religious at all. But, I used to be more of in a box, like in that church type kind of thought process.
Yes.
But, it goes back to owning yourself and being responsible. You have the ability to take yourself out of the box if you just stop worrying about what other people think about you and have your own thoughts, your own opinions, even though they may not always be right.
That's right.
I'm not talking about you per se, but just anyone.
Right.
Life is a learning process. So these people, I see with a lot of religious people, they keep themselves in this box. So they're like yo-yoing. They're doing one extreme to the next. Either they're super religious or either they're going way off the deep end and doing some crazy stuff.
Oh, yeah. And that's the norm.
This whole conversation, balance.
Yes. And see, they do it to themselves, and the higher they go in that hierarchy, the people expect that religious figure to be just a religious figure. Now they move about the world and they know they cannot do anything or act in any kind of way, and there's more pressure to them instead of being themselves, but they can't because they've allowed themselves to go into that box. So me, I'm free. See, I can speak about spirituality, but I'll turn around and speak about something else. But it's because of my walk and my experiences in a fuller range. That's why and some people will contact me and say, Lance, I used to listen to your older videos and they were off the chain and so worldly, but I see how you have evolved and I see you as a man of God. And I'm like, listen, brother or sister.
That's funny how you said that.
Yeah, right. And I'm like, not to insult or reject the Most High. I'm not doing that. But I know what they mean by that. They mean the religious version. And I'm like, listen, don't put that on me. Because I want to be able to do, and I don't mean I want to be able to do what I want to do, but I want to be able to express myself truly without having that on my head that if I do try to pursue being a man of God, then I have to talk this way and I have to act this way. No.
That's what I used to think. Lance. And that's a terrible way of being, because these people that they look up to you, they're not even living that life. Most of them are not even living that life that they want you to project out into the universe.
Right.
And God has given us freedom. He has not kept us in a box, the Most High. He's given us the freedom to be liberated. Of course, you are supposed to be righteous in your actions, in your decisions, but you're not supposed to be in a square box. And that's where I thought, because I used to be around a lot of people like that, and most of those people are stuck. They're stuck.
And
because
see,
if it's not super religion, then they're off course, and then there's this tug of war, no balance.
Well, see, God gave us free will, but God didn't give us free will for us to jack ourselves up.
Yeah.
He gave us free will where we, as a child, say a child is in the kitchen with the mother, and the stove is on, and it's hot.
Mm-hmm.
And she says, listen, little Johnny, don't go near the stove, and you dare not touch it, because it's hot and it will burn you and it will hurt and it will be very uncomfortable and you will regret it. And little Johnny says, yeah, when she steps out the room for a second, I know what she said is true, but I'm going over there. I'm going to see what this thing called hot is all about.
Mm-hmm.
And in 3 seconds, he's crying. He had the free will. She didn't say, don't touch it, like you can't, but don't touch it because it's not going to be a good thing. So to be obedient feels good in that situation. And the heat from the stove reminded you that it's good to be obedient because mommy knew best.
Yeah.
So the free will that we're given, I believe, yes, I think we can put our foot off the beaten path in the learning process to be able to run back home and say, you know what, God, I submit because you were right. You gave me this free will. I ain't trying to use this bad boy because it's like a credit card with a high interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
It's so good indulging, but when it comes time to pay it back and deal with the consequences, it can be quite overwhelming with a whole lot of interest.
Yep. And what I'm saying, too, is you could be peacefully free. So you don't have to indulge in those things. You don't have to go all the way over to the left, but you could be happy living a clean life.
Yes, there's a joy to that. There's a joy.
Happy living a clean life. Just, you can, there's so many positive things that you can do. Climbing a mountain. There's all kinds of things that you can do are clean, that are fun. You don't have to. A lot of times the enemy has our mind to where we think that if we're going to live for God, we're going to live for the Most High, our Creator, we can't have fun. We can't have, and that's a lie.
Right.
That's a lie.
That's a big lie.
You can have a righteous, upright life and be completely happy. It goes back to balance.
Yes.
And no, you're not going to be perfect. No, you're not going to be without a blemish. Of course, we have to work out our own salvation in fear and trembling. But still, yet you can find balance and be happy. I just feel for people who have kept themselves in a box, and they feel like if they're not inside that box, they're going to hell.
See, exactly. And see, what we have to understand is that Satan lies to us to make us feel as though the decadent pseudo pleasures, the false pleasures that are very real, but they hit the brain faster than the righteous pleasures that are more wholesome. See, when you eat that hamburger or you drink that milkshake and have them fries, that fried up, salty, oily food sure tastes good, and it hits your brain, and all of those calories fill you up. And you never think about, did I get the proper nutrition? But the good food is what the junk food is a copy of. But we think the opposite. We think that the righteous thing is weak compared to the decadence that's out there. Because you want to go out there and see what's out there. See? But
you can then condition since children.
Right.
TV, radio, all this bad food, the air is polluted, the water is polluted. Most of society is delusional to some degree.
Mental sickness is at an all-time high, and it's considered normalcy now because the scale of what is right and what is good is been broken in the minds of the people. They're navigating a sea, a shark-infested sea, with no compass. They don't know what direction they go. They just know they're going, like you said earlier, like the animal running on the treadmill, the rat running on the guinea pig, whatever it is, and you're running hard and you're getting nowhere. It's breaking up a sweat, and you look out. Wait, I'm in the same spot. See, so that's why as you get older, and age doesn't always bring wisdom. Also, there are a lot of middle-aged fools out here. Gray hair does not denote wisdom or the possession of. So there are a lot of old fools, and we can't assume that either. But in a perfect world, as you get older, you should gain more wisdom. And as you gain more wisdom, you should know that to submit to divine law is the best way and the most satisfying way. There was a time in my life when, or put it this way, as I settled down, or tried to in the beginning of my transition in a prior relationship, not this one, right? And I said, I'm settling down. But I'm not going to say I had the thing in me, but I had the rhythms of it in me.
Yeah.
You see, you stop selling drugs. It doesn't mean that when you walk in the street, you can't look in the eyes of people who you know are looking to cop drugs. You never lose that. A mark gets on you and only God can remove it. But in your transition, in the process, you still move this way. So I meant to say this, that when I began to think of settling down and did in my prior marriage, I will say that rhythm was still so new to me, even though I had it in my heart to live righteous, that rhythm was still in me, that when I would wake up at night at home, I look around and ask myself, where am I? That's how bad it was.
Wow.
Because I didn't know what woman's house I'm waking up in.
Wow.
That's how bad it was.
After being married.
No, after being married, the thing can still go on. You have to get everything off of you. It's like removing a tumor. You can't take half of it out. It's going to start growing again, or still going to be there.
Lance, I'm glad you mentioned this, because I'm actually doing an interview tomorrow about life after divorce.
Wow.
I'm doing an interview on that tomorrow. Wow. So it took you, how long was your first marriage?
About 10 years.
10 years?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And that was an abusive situation, emotionally and physically. Big and strong as I am, yeah. Right? And that was strange for me, because it was like I'm all in, but it's like a boxer that gets knocked out, but he's still on his back, reaching up like he's throwing punches. He's so trained to throw punches that even when he's knocked out, not knocked out completely, but he's out of his senses. Put it this way: you live in your place for several years. You have 2 handfuls of groceries, or a handful of groceries, and you have another hand free to push the key in the door, and you walk in and the lights are out. You've been living there for a good long time. You know your place well. You take the tip of one finger and you touch that light switch. You didn't feel around on the wall like you used to when you first moved there. When you first moved there, you were feeling up the wall. Didn't know what the light. You knew the general direction, but you had to feel around to, oh, there it is. And you put the switch on. But after a while, you know where it is. Well, it was the same for me. I had to feel around for the new reality. But the old rhythm was there. So my finger thought it knew where it was going. But I was in a different place.
Wow.
See? So those rhythms, okay, here's one for you. Say you have a car where the shift, or automatic transmission, the shift from drive to reverse to neutral, park to reverse to neutral to drive, is between both seats. And you drove this car for years. So you hop in your car, you put your foot on your brake, take the emergency brake off, start up the ignition, you reach down and you shift and you put it into drive and you drive off. This becomes second nature. You can do this so quick. But then your car now is in the shop and they give you a loaner vehicle. And the shift is below on the stem of the steering wheel. But you're not thinking about that. You hop in the car. You release the emergency brake. You have your foot on the brake. You start the ignition up and you reach down between both seats and there's nothing there. And you wake up, oh, this is a different vehicle. It's over here. But for a few moments, you're dumbfounded because it's a new place. But you brought the old rhythms.
So how do you shift that?
By accepting the new reality and training yourself and allowing yourself to consciously adopt and ingest and absorb those new rhythms. Because again, what was once unknown is now known. But there's a transition. Remember, the job that one may have now, the night before you started that first night, you're, oh God, how are the co-workers going to be? I know it took me 45 minutes to get there. No, not that long. It took me 20 minutes to get there, but maybe it might take 35. I'm going to leave 45 minutes ahead of time. Is there any place around me to eat? Or should I bring my food? Or, what should I wear? Or all these thoughts. Now, you know that it takes 20 minutes to get there. And you're giving yourself 21 minutes because you know how the lights work. You know everything. Yeah. You punch it on in with seconds left because you know. See? But before that, you were fretting. And you laugh at your old self like, I remember what this is. This is second nature. Let me tell you something. My first trip on the bus, the round trip is a 3-hour trip on the city bus. It's a long bus route. I do 3 of those and 1 shorter one for an hour. I do a day that's over 10 hours with the breaks.
Wow.
And there are some days that I get downtown to pick up the bus that I'm to relieve. And I speak to the prior driver. Hey, man, how's everything? The bus is working all right. Everybody, how's your day? Anything out there happen? Any detours, anything? Okay, cool, man. Have a nice night. I wish I was you. You're going home now. I'm starting. By the time I get off, you'll be getting up in the middle of the night to go use the bathroom, and I'll still be out there. We make our little jokes. Yeah. But I'm zoned out because I've been there a long time. And I know this particular route because I like this route. It's the most challenging one. But I'm so used to it that the first trip is a 3-hour round trip. And I don't wake up till 2 hours and 50 minutes into that trip. Like, wait a second.
Wow, I have experienced that.
Yes.
When driving to work before. I think it's like you're almost like a computer.
Yes.
And then sometimes I literally, I know I'm like, it's like I'm in a trance.
Yes.
And then I wake up like, it's like I come back into myself, like.
Yes.
I don't know, wow.
Yes, and I'm fully functional. If a cat runs out into the road, I hit the brake. If a person jumps out from behind the tree, I slow down and get them. But I don't know how I do it sometimes. So we adopt these rhythms. Now, at first, I didn't even know Orlando. Now I'm driving a bus down here giving people directions. So we can't be scared of what is the unknown, but we can shake the old and bring in the new, but you have to have something to replace it. You can't ask a young man to stop selling drugs unless you offer him some type of way of making money. You can't, I can't tell you.
That's such a powerful breakthrough in this conversation, having something to replace those old behavior patterns, those old negative ways.
Yes.
That's very powerful. You gotta have something to replace it. Just like, with me with the food thing, you gotta have something to replace that.
Yes. Yes. You can't ask someone to get rid of something out of their life without having something nutritious and righteous and beneficial to them to replace it. Because they'll run back to what they know. If they don't know any better, they're gonna run back to.
You need to run back. What you know, especially if you're in a critical state in your life, like when you're going through something.
Yes.
Because that old place is that comfort zone. What happens sometimes as a young woman, a lot of times is if things are difficult here, I would run back home.
That's right.
So, not living with my parents. I've been living on my own since I stepped out of the house, but for the weekend or something like that.
Yes.
I would be. So you got to have something to replace it. And I think above all, too, you have to face your demons.
Yes.
You have to be willing to face those demons and fight them relentlessly.
You have to. I saw a meme on Instagram, something to the effect of, how are you going to fight and defeat the demons that you continuously play with? I was like, whoa, that was deep.
It is.
It was just so awesome when I heard that.
It is very deep, because this is the thing. Like like I said earlier, we have the power.
Yes.
But sometimes we're so used to being weak, we don't even believe in our own strength.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I can speak to that from my own life. You know, with trying so many things and failing and giving up, you feel like sometimes you're not going to make it through a certain thing. But as you continue to go through hell on this earth, you realize that you are much stronger than your own perception of yourself.
Exactly.
So when you get that kind of mentality, it's no telling what you can do.
Well, you see, you know what? It's almost like watching a Rocky movie. And he always has these kind of scenes in each movie, and we know what to expect. He's going to get beat around 50 million times. But then after a while, that formidable challenge in the other opponent that looked as though he was invincible, right? After a while, Rocky takes such a beating, and he gets up. Is that all you got? Is that all you got? Come here, hit me. And then he goes to start to beat up the guy that was the predator. And you become the predator. And sometimes when the demons start to put the doubt in your mind, you say, you know what, demon? Either get out of the way or bring it. Because I've been through so much that I'm going to whip your backside the way I did before. And you're not stopping me. It's just like when you have a day where you have minor things that look like they're trying you. Somebody's not letting you over in the lane that you're trying to merge into, even though there's space, or somebody's trying to get on your nerves and you know they're coming with it. And you look at them and you say, this is not happening today. And they quickly submit because they see your power from the inside, that you ain't going for it today. That's that thing. And that's the thing you have to activate. And sometimes we have to become a righteous predator on the demons floating around us, trying to slip into our own personal cracks in our armor. And we know they're there. We know where they are. We know where the so-called weaknesses are, but that's only temporary, and we're going to knock them demons off. We ain't doing this tonight. We have people who may fall into the drug thing. We understand that. We have people who fall into that depression thing. We understand that. But nobody talks about the people who are chronic masturbators. I'm not trying to be funny. Mm-hmm. That's their secret. That I don't drink, and I don't do drugs, and I don't have anybody right now, but this is how I put myself to sleep. Mm-hmm. See? But nobody talks about the things that we need to talk about. And we all go from 9 to 5 or whatever our 9 to 5 is, symbolically meaning our contact with the outside world, and we put on our mask of normal. And ain't none of us normal, because there is no normal. It's normal is a place that we all agreed to meet on. This is why you can cut the news on and see someone who's a multimillionaire with a wonderful family. The kids are not affected. They're in good health, long marriage, and the person takes a gun and puts it to their head and kills himself. Because there's something about them that you did not know, and there's something about them that they would not reveal to even themselves, to admit to themselves, like you said earlier. Facing your demons and dealing with them, because after a while it begins to stink when you don't clean that room, and you realize there's a problem.
Mm-hmm. You have to admit it to yourself. You know, facing yourself it can be a very ugly thing, because there's things about ourselves that we want to overlook, or we want to keep. We don't want to correct. But if you want to really get to where you need to be at in life, you need to face those things that make you feel uncomfortable, those things that you don't want to acknowledge. And sometimes the enemy will send people in your life to acknowledge those things in your life. He will. Yes. The people that most hate you the most will always pick out all of these things But the Lord even works in that. The Lord works in that too. Even when the enemy is trying to tempt you and tell you these bad things, tell you how horrible you are, you missed something there. You can see something in that and take use of that.
That's right. That's
I have
right.
a lot of people that come in my life and try to discourage me and criticize me, tell me what I'm not, even recently. But I'll say, maybe maybe there's something right they're saying. And even though the tone was derogatory, nasty, demeaning, there's something I can take back from this and learn from it.
Exactly. And see, this is the thing. The more you're closer to your prizes, the more they're going to tell you what you're not. If they got you already and you're already defeated, why waste time on you? Like I like to say to different friends of mine, I say, if we were out on the corner drinking, stinking, catcalling women, wasting hours in our day without vision, without focus, discipline, and drive, oh, what a wonderful life that would be. Now, why would I say that? I'm not saying it because
nothing negative to say to you.
Satan wouldn't be coming after me.
I wouldn't even care.
Yeah, and I will be free of that for a time, right? Mm-hmm. But when you take on the struggle and accept the challenge, most of us sometimes feel we've bitten off more than we can chew. But the thing is that the reward, we have to keep our focus on that reward and knowing that there's a joy to being in submission to divine law, to God's law. There's a happiness and joy knowing you are on track. There's a happiness and a joy when one is going for a degree and they know that their grades are good and they're caught up on their studies. So now when the day or two comes when they can relax and enjoy themselves, they can really enjoy themselves. But then they may have that friend next to them who is not enjoying themselves. And you say, well, what's wrong? Oh, I'm 3 weeks behind and I haven't studied for this test on Monday. I don't know what I'm going to do. You're tormented. Ultimately, you're tormented. But he'll keep you from that for a while, Satan. Because he's not going to be on your backside like the person who's trying to better themselves.
Because I asked God, I said, why is the enemy, the Lord, the Most High, why is the enemy hitting me so hard? Like, I'm the person, I'm not saying I'm a perfect person or nothing like that, but I'm like, I consider myself to be pretty decent. Like, you would think the enemy would be on somebody who is, sleeping around or doing all these crazy things. I'm like, I'm trying my best to live a good and clean life. I'm not sleeping around. I'm not out here.
Right.
I'm to myself. And it seems like I'm the one that's getting beat down.
Exactly.
People coming around trying to just, either it's jealousy, either it's competitiveness and, all kinds of crazy things. And I'm like, Lord, why me?
Well, see,
I know we all suffer, but I'm like, why? When is it going to be where I'm not constantly, trying to, the enemy is not trying to constantly torture me?
Well, put it this way. You can have career criminals that do little petty crimes in the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And you say to yourself, oh, they're so bad for doing this. They're going to get caught one day. They're so bad. And somehow, some way, over time, they convince you to join them on one of their escapades of breaking into a store. Guess who's the one that's going to get caught? You. They're getting away. Mm-hmm. But you're going to get caught because you weren't supposed to be there. See? So the temptation will be greater on you to indulge in things or to be chastised by Satan himself because he wants you so bad. And he knows your destiny. And again, like you said, with the demons who have no bodies, they can't enjoy a good meal. They can't enjoy a good sleep. They have no form and they're tortured because they can't sleep. And you mean that you're heaven bound and they're not forevermore? They will never See, we have a choice, but the demons don't.
No.
They were in heaven and left following Satan, and so they don't have that choice. You know, nobody said, I never heard in the Bible, and I know you're more well-read in it than I am, but, you know, I didn't hear Jesus ever say, well, you know, whatever demon wants to come forth and confess its sin. No, it's a wrap, baby.
It's a wrap.
And they don't want you to get your prize. So their joy is to keep you from getting yours because they resent you coming out the box. You can't negotiate with a demon and a devil. And guess what? To keep you from your salvation, they will bring things to you and appear to be your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Lance.
That's all. You have to guard your heart, guard your heart, guard your heart, because I'm just talking to the people that may listen to this.
Yes.
Friendships, people that are close to you, are liable to be the most people that are susceptible to hurt you. And
they're in position.
If you are not in tune,
mm-hmm.
if you are not in tune with yourself, someone else will drag you down with their own demons. And I look at it like this. I have my own battle to fight. I'm not going to fight your battle and my battle. We ain't got to do that.
Right.
I'm fighting your stuff and my stuff. Let me tell you, I'm pretty cool with my stuff. I'm okay. I'm making it. And
right.
I'm getting better.
Right.
But I'm not going to deal with you, your insecurities, your low self-esteem, your rejection, your fear, and I'm trying to overcome me too. That's not going to work. It's just not. That's why, Lance, I'm going to be honest with you. I have very little friends.
Same here.
My circle is small.
Oh, yeah.
Because the smaller my circle, the more peace, the more serenity I have.
Yes, and you'll be able to produce more and ascend higher, like that airplane that's weighed down, and you don't have enough fuel to get to landfall. So you got to start throwing some things out. Yeah.
Powerful analogy.
And many of us can't do that. Oh, no, we all can do that, but many of us refuse to do that.
They refuse to do it because they reject themselves.
Mm-hmm.
They would rather be a people pleaser. They would rather go along to get along. But let me tell you something. When you acknowledge your own truth, you are a powerful vessel on this earth. When you can acknowledge your own truth and live in that and refuse to be a victim of your circumstances, of the situations that occurred in your life, of past hurts, past pains, when you acknowledge yourself, you acknowledge who the Most High has called you to be on this earth. I had to, if I was going to be around certain people, that would mean I would have to reject Constance. The man who was going to marry me almost 2 years ago, if I was going to marry him, I was going to move to New York and reject what I wanted to be as a woman.
Wow.
And maybe I'm not there yet fully. I'm not. But I am not. I refuse to reject myself to appease someone else because I have one life to live. One life. We don't know about people. Some people say this, you get more than one life. All I can attest to is the one that I am living now today.
That's right.
And if I don't speak up for myself, if I don't learn to hone in on my voice, who will I become? Just another person out there doing what other people want me to do. And the more you die every day, you denounce yourself, or you belittle yourself, or you don't put yourself in the equation. You die. So you must acknowledge your life, acknowledge your existence, acknowledge your purpose on this earth. It doesn't matter how you're able to get that out, but as long as you're able to somehow get that energy out, somehow, like you said, you're an artist, you draw, still draw. It doesn't matter whether your picture is in a magazine. It matters that you get out your ability to create.
Yes.
Because that's what we're here on this earth. We are co-creators.
Beautifully said. But we don't participate in life as a creator. We sit by the sidelines and watch opportunity after opportunity go by because we don't feel empowered. We missed the point when God showed us creation and how it was made. And he takes joy in seeing us create righteous things. As long as he signs off on it, we have the free will to do what we want, as long as he signs off on it. But many of us will insult God and talk about, one day when I hit that lottery ticket, look, God put such seeds of greatness inside of you that you are your own lottery ticket.
You are.
You got blank checks in you that you can sign off on. God gave it to you. He approved them. You don't have to go for credit in Satan's world. You have God signing off on his whole creation. But we're so confused that we give up that for the worldly things that we see that are so small and minuscule and very passing.
And don't even equivalent to any of the power that we have in us. You know, Miles Monroe once said, why live your life and take all your gifts and talents to the grave with you? You know how many people that just live their life working a job, never exploring anything that they were called to explore on this earth? You know, that's why I have to get my art out there somewhere. Sometimes I'll express it through a poem on my channel. I just recently did a monologue on my channel. I have to get it out there.
Yes.
Because it's important to me. It doesn't matter what capacity it is, as long as I still keep that energy and that creativity flowing. I know it's going to get higher one day, but I have to get that out of there.
Of course.
There's a lot of powerful things that we have balled up inside of us. And so there's some of the best writers you'll never know. Could have had the most powerful books ever heard of. Some of the greatest singers right now are probably ringing up somebody's groceries. All because they believed in what the enemy has spoken over their life versus what the Most High was saying to them.
Wow.
He didn't say that it was going to be an easy road into getting anywhere. He didn't say that he didn't even say that you were guaranteed to be famous for the gifts and the talent.
Right.
But just like me and you are doing, if you can have a positive influence on one person, you've already done something wonderful.
Exactly.
It could be just one child that sees you, or one adult, one somebody who you just say something that clicks in their head and it sparks them to become something greater than what they suppose they could be. So we have to continue to acknowledge this power within us and get it out in a healthy and productive way, and not let society tell us, because we're not millionaires or billionaires, that whatever our gifts or talents are meaningless. Because every gift, everything that we produce is priceless.
Yes.
It's priceless. And I believe that the more work you put into it, who knows how long it takes to achieve a certain thing, or to get a certain money or whatever out of whatever you're doing in life. Who knows how long it takes for certain plans to come together. But you must always be working and planning to the day that our lives expire.
Exactly.
Because you don't know. You know, a lot of these people who obtain a lot of wealth obtain it in their later years.
Exactly. And they've been doing what they did all their life, and it wasn't for money. Yes, we understand money is important in this worldly system. We're in it, but we're not of it. I understand that. But they were doing it because of the joy of the process. The joy of the process. They loved it. And what they did righteously, they know that God signed off on. And they were happy, as they say in the streets, playing their righteous position. Mm-hmm. And if the goal is strictly money, there's going to be a lot of disappointed people out here.
Yes.
Because I'm sitting here now talking.
People lose their soul because the goal is money. People lose their families because the goal is money. And what is money when you've lost yourself and you can't even look yourself in the mirror at the end of the day because you sold yourself out to achieve something that's still not going to bring any peace and comfort in your heart.
There you go.
What is it really? Now we need it to live, but I do believe you can live divinely. You can be active in your gifts and talents, and you can maintain your integrity.
Yes. It's a very important thing.
Still have a powerful effect on a lot of people. Man, do you know, can you imagine how many people that listen to our channels that never comment?
Exactly. But they're being affected.
Yeah. They give something positive, but they never leave a comment. Some don't even leave a like.
But you know what though? Even if they don't, if they don't leave a comment and they don't leave a like, they left a hit.
Right.
Only YouTube knows who that is, right? But they did leave a hit. So there's a sign and an indication of their presence. They left a hit. Mm-hmm. And we don't know who it is. Yeah. But God knows who it is.
And it's somebody taking something positive from you.
Exactly.
Somebody getting something that they truly, sincerely needed. And so it's all to let the work be done, all to the glory of the Lord. Because there is a life after this one. Mm-hmm. So that's why when you said come up with that balance, that mental, physical, emotional balance, that tripod, there's a life after this one. So it's good that we be in preparation and that we focus on getting to the root, that we focus on protecting ourselves, taking responsibility for our actions and our behaviors, because we have to get this thing right, because this is honestly just the beginning.
Yes.
It's a life. You know, our force, our souls live on for eternity. We're just passing, almost like a flash in the night.
This is a pit stop to eternity. Mm-hmm. When you see the race on the racetrack and they have that pit stop for a time, and they have all of these specialists come out, take the tires off and do everything. This is a pit stop. Because we value this life and we should value every moment, yes. But if you live to even 1,000 years, like I like to say, that's not even a drop in the bucket compared to eternity.
Wow.
But it has a lot of weight where it determines what's going to happen in eternity. And we forget that it's the eternity that we need to be focused on, not the pit stop. So imagine if the racer...
What are you going to do
exactly
with this time?
Exactly.
Are you going to continue to let the enemy beat you up in your head? Or you can continue to let demons that you can't even see traumatize you? What are you going to do to fight for your soul and leave a mark, hopefully a mark that is respectable before the Most High?
Yes.
Yeah, this is a great conversation, Lance.
Wow. Wow. Right.
This is a great conversation. I really, truly enjoyed listening and speaking with you on tonight.
Yes, and see, we're warmed up now, so we have a lot more to cover, especially in subsequent conversations. And when we jump in, we already warmed up. Yeah. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. And see, 24 hours ago, we didn't know that. You know what I mean? So this is the wonderment and how wonderful life is, because you don't know. And then when it happens, it's like, wow. Mm-hmm. And see, I'm not just a face on a video anymore or a voice. I'm talking with you. Mm-hmm. And you're not just that person I see on the video. I mean, I know you're real, but we're interacting now. Yeah. And that's the wonderful part about it. And that's how we should use social media.
Mm-hmm.
This is how we should use it. So although I criticize it a lot for the wayward uses that many people use it for, I have to applaud it for uses like this. So when people demonize it, and I do, but I will also swing around and give it its props. That when used correctly, it's something that enhances your life. It's something that can help you grow, as long as you stay away from them demons on there. You know what I mean?
Trust me, I've learned my lesson.
Because you know what? There's a lot of alligators out there under the pretty waters of that lake. So not to say stay away from the lake, just be careful where you put your foot in it, because, you know, it's a double-edged sword. But with discernment and with the discipline and that ability and that connectedness to God, you'll be all right. You don't have to fear any of that. Just maintain your connection. Make sure that it's working right. And on a final note, I'm not saying it's a final thing, but I have to make this point. When you have a guy racing the car and he has his team, what do they do before they put that car on the track? They do a pre-flight.
Yep.
And I mean, that's a term they use for airplanes, but some of them use that also. We could use that for the airplane also, pre-flight, before you put it out there. So every day, before you leave the comfort of your home, and it doesn't have to be house, home. Home doesn't mean always house. It could be an apartment. It could be that box under the tree. It could be the backseat of your car. But whenever you're ready to leave physically your home and go out into the outside world, you better do a spiritual pre-flight.
Mm-hmm.
Check yourself. Make sure that you're in the proper operating condition. Make sure you can handle the atmosphere out there. Make sure your tires are full and not flat. Make sure your gas tank is full. Make sure everything is working properly, because it's relentless out there.
It is.
And sometimes we forget to do our pre-flight and reconnect in the safety of our garage with our Creator. And we can find ourselves on the side of the road in a sad, sorry state of affairs. So always make sure that you have that connection. Don't let those phone calls upset you from those frenemies who drop little dimes of doubt in your mind, little seeds that don't grow right away. It'll grow 5 hours from now, 5 days from now, and you think it's you. No, they drop something on you. You keep your circle tight and you look for ways. I know me, I'm looking for a way to make it tighter. Go ahead and mess up. The stakes are too high right now. You mess up right now, I'm not going to, give you a chance. You're a grown behind man or woman. You know what you're doing. You showed your hand. Be gone. I'll forgive you down the line, but I'm not going to put my salvation and my destiny and my peace of mind at risk for somebody who purposely proved that they're not in my corner.
Exactly.
So we got to be careful. God gave you your precious life. Budget it properly. You get your paycheck. You don't just go and say, hey, everybody, in the neighborhood, I'm going to pay everybody's light bill, and you sit for the rest of the month in darkness. No, you can help them with it if it's a righteous reason why they fell behind. But don't let anybody make you feel guilty when they're in darkness and you're sitting in light. No. How can you do God's work if you deprive yourself of what you need to sustain yourself?
You can't.
All these people running around here thinking that there's something holy about the struggle. Oh, I fall behind on my rent, but God will bless me. Yeah, maybe God will bless you. But these perpetually impoverished people, and I don't mean just on a money level, but on all levels.
On a mentality level.
You can't enjoy abundance. You feel that when you are blessed with something now, you got to go give it all away because you feel guilty. No, Cultivate something good that you can help people with. Don't give away your fish. Teach the other people how to fish so they can do for self. There's the slaying of ourself that's required. But it doesn't mean that we bash our lives up on purpose as some self-sacrifice trying to emulate Jesus. There's only one Jesus. I tell people in a second, I ain't Jesus Christ. Don't expect me to nail my hand to a cross and give you my mortgage money. You might hate me. You'll be laughing at me when I'm on the curb. I call you up for a place to stay. I ain't got no room, and you laughing. You got a 4-bedroom apartment.
That's true. That's true.
I'm sorry for getting not ignorant, but ignorant.
Well, Lance, it was so nice talking to you. I'm gonna need to close it.
Yes. Not because look, you've got something to do later on today. And I know where enthusiasm would take us for. That's why, and I'm going to say it to the world that I said, whenever you feel that you need to, please close it, because I think you've learned the hard way that I will talk your ears off. Trust me.
No, it was an awesome conversation.
Oh, most definitely.
Awesome.
Most definitely. Mm-hmm. And it didn't seem like I worked 10 hours and we spoke yesterday, but it seems like we spoke last week because we went into so many different aspects of this conversation, and I have to say we flowed so naturally, and I thank you for that. It was
very natural flow. Sometimes I can't, for some reason. Some people I don't connect with. I don't know. It's just, but it was a very natural flow, and I felt very open.
Yes.
And honest.
Likewise.
So
here too.
Very natural. So I'm thankful for that, because conversations like this need to be had
and need to be shared, you see. Mm-hmm. And on that note, since we're going to wrap it down for the sake of the recording, I'm going to have you wrap it down, but I'm also going to say to stay on for a few seconds after you wrap it down. But give us a few words, a few thoughts, whatever you want to say or do, a minute, 2 minutes, whatever. You're going to have the final word, and I also want you to say your channel, your contact info, whatever it is, and bring it to a close, and then stay on after that so I can cut that part and I can say a few things to you after, and then you can get your rest. Okay? The floor is yours.
Okay. Lance, this is such a wonderful conversation. I really appreciate it. It was just so open and so honest and so real. We need more conversations like this. The things that you said, that tripod analogy, being connected with the mind, spirit, and I think you said body, mind, spirit, and soul. I can't remember right now.
Mental, physical, and spiritual.
Mental, physical, and spiritual. It's powerful. Keeping balance, powerful. Staying disciplined, recognizing those holes in the boat, acknowledging them, embracing them so that you can get past them, getting to the root. All these things that we mentioned tonight truly has been a blessing to my soul, and I believe it will be a blessing to anybody that listens. Again, everyone, my name is Constance. I run the channel Warrior Queen Speaks on YouTube. Also have Twitter, Warrior Queen Speaks. And I'll be opening up a blog sooner than later. It was a joy to partake in this conversation tonight, and I just look forward to many more. Lance and I have another conversation coming up about being empaths, so I'm sure that's going to be interesting. So make sure you check us out again. Thank you for bringing me on your platform. It was beautiful, and I greatly appreciate it.
Make sure to check out the boldest blog at LanceScurv.com and follow Scurv on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube under LanceScurv.